Hey everyone, this is KP here with Sam Tuell to commentate on this round one of the Portland Materia Cup. We have Garrett J on the top versus Joseph M on the bottom. We're going to see what new decks show up at this Materia Cup. Sam, do you have any thoughts on what you would play or what you're hoping to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks everybody for joining us. We do have this game kind of coming off to a quick start already. Yeah, as the Godot into the Zidane play. Zidane definitely gonna be a little bit of a recurring theme. Personally, for myself, I feel like given the current environment, I am probably leaning towards a Warrior of Light. Yeah, it's a pretty comfort pick. For me, it kind of goes into the standard, generally good against most things game plan. We are coming into a fresh set, so we are not only coming into a fresh set, but we also have the fresh ban list with Yuna, Cecil, Rosa all getting hit. That definitely plays a big factor here. I think without that, I would be clearly on a Yuna deck if I was coming at this event this weekend. But without Yuna on the table, definitely Warrior of Light would, it was a rough matchup for Warrior of Light. I think that being off the table kind of helps you out. And we can see here, he went ahead and dropped out that Shiva to stop the Zidane, stop a little bit of damage. Yeah.
Looks like I'm guessing this is pure mono ice because Charlotte requires all ice CP, but there might be a little splash. I don't know. I wonder if there's any priming. I wonder if this Emina is going to get a Torgal and use Clive in there. Not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And speak of it, there's the good boy himself. We did also see the Charlotte go down already. A new card, 5 CP, 9K. Powerful new cards. I definitely. What big cards are you on the lookout for this weekend from the new set?
Oh, well, one of them's in this deck. The new 3 CP Lightning, I think, is extremely good. And same with the new Sarah. I mean, a lot of the new FF13 cards are actually very strong, but I think that and there's a lot in Garrett's hand at the top. There's new Fang and new Vanille, I think, in his hand. Yeah.
Oh, and there she is.
I think a lot of these cards are really strong, but I think that they lose to EX bursts, and that can be problematic, but we'll see if that ends up mattering, because I feel like Ice doesn't have too many like removal EX bursts. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of
stop attack thing than a kill.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a lot of other decks, rather than Joseph's mono ice, might have even been happy to take that first point of damage from the Zidane. An early EX burst could potentially start, get the ball rolling. But usually for these ice decks, unfortunately, they just don't have those exceptionally powerful EX bursts that could kind of flip the game on their head.
Here we go with the Lightning. What are we putting into play? Vanille.
Oh, Vanille.
So when this Lightning does damage, the party attack. So the party attack with Vanille and Lightning, when it does damage, it's 2 damage. And also,
yes, you're not losing out on the extra attack coming in as a party attack. You're still getting that damage. You're getting the play-and-play effect from Vanille. So we're going up a card.
Windhope.
And just with all of this aggression into a Hope. And we really have a kind of multicolor smorgasbord going on over here too, with all these colors.
And then also at the end of the turn, Garrett, the Vanille's going to go back to his hand at the end of the turn.
Yeah. And Garrett did, of course, pick his on-theme sleeves with the lightning sleeves. It was a conscious decision representing his deck.
Oh yeah.
Godot getting in. Quick damage.
This is probably...
And we do get that Vanille back to hand. Yep, perfect.
This is probably why we saw Joseph Shiva on the first turn. Because when boards get this wide, I feel like there's not too many things that Mono Ice can do. They can freeze everything, but that's only temporary. So we'll see. I think Jill into the old Shiva to remove 2 things would be pretty solid.
That would be fantastic here. It also would get a card out of hand.
Yeah.
So that would definitely buy him a lot of time. Wait, we're taking out the Zidane, the Lightning, and then 1 card out of hand at least. So would have an option, but unfortunately, I don't think that's what he has in the bank. So he is going to pull out the Victoria here. Going to get a 7K.
Do you think he's going to get Zidane or Lightning?
I feel like we have to go for the Lightning. The amount of value that this card generates, and of course he is going to take that out. It's just very, very high value. Puts a lot of pressure on him. He's already on the back foot here, hoping he can kind of claw something out. Gonna pull out a Luso, try to get the deck rolling.
Yep, and it's another blocker. So I'm a little concerned still because we can cast the Hope, or well, I guess we can't right now. We have Vanille and Hope in our hand, but assuming Garrett's hand is like stacked, if we can cast the cards, so I think we're kind of hoping. If we're Joseph, that Garrett draws different element colors and can't cast very many things.
Yeah, that is a
kind of a turn of breather, I feel like. Ooh, Arcanist.
Yeah, and I do love getting the Arcanist, putting that out. If he can get another turn here, he can start stalling those 2s. Maybe buy him a little bit of time. One of the things that he's definitely going to run into is issues here is he does not have huge forwards, and everything on Garrett's side is also fairly comparable or sometimes even bigger size. These forwards get quite large quite quick, so unless he plays out his whole hand and that Victoria turns into a 10k, I really worry about how big these forwards will be on the other side. Just going to be able to kind of mash their way through whatever defense he can get. Now, if I am Garrett, we do have the Zidane able to kind of safely get in here, but what else do we need to kind of close this game out?
There's the FF13 specific Bahamut that it costs 5, but it costs 2 if you have 3 FF13 forwards in play.
Yeah.
That's a good removal spell in this kind of scenario. That's kind of what I was thinking of, is just what kind of spot removal do we have?
And
okay,
exactly, there it goes. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and get that out. Unfortunately, we don't have the 13 characters.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
See what he can kind of conjure up here to get it going.
The Zidane is a very good start to winning this game, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It really applies so much pressure so quick. And you can see this 13 deck just very efficient, kind of not working off of backups, but just working with its entire deck. So we're able to constantly just pick up the deck, look for what we need, get it in play, get it in hand. We're able to tutor with the Vanille. We were able to tutor with the Hope. We're able to tutor with the Fang. So a lot of consistency.
If I recall, I'm pretty sure we have 3 different elements in our hand. He discarded a Bahamut as well.
Okay, we did discard the Bahamut.
Is that light? Oh, I think he has lightning in his hand, maybe. Anyways, I was gonna say, so Fang's ability is you can put her in the break zone to search for a Bahamut. Oh, it's Sarah. Okay, that makes sense too. Oh. That makes sense. It all adds up now. Fang.
This is why we need the lightning.
Exactly. She puts herself in the break zone to search for a Bahamut, and it's a cost reduced by 4. So that with the Bahamut's text could make it 0. If he had 3 forwards in play, which is why you played another Fang. However, having the Sarah gave him access to playing the or to search for a lightning card, play the Sarah. So that might be better than the Bahamut because there's the damage.
Yeah,
So,
you get a body plus the removal.
yeah,
You're building up your 13 forwards, and he's gonna make it look like he's not gonna need much more going on right now. As his opponent is handless, gonna need some big help here. Is that the new light legend that I see there? The
yeah.
Ra'al.
Rala, I think it's called. I will
Oh,
double check. But yes, the new light legend. I was wondering if this deck would have Shinryu, but we kind of got the answer, it looks like.
yeah.
Something else I just found out. The Sid Reigns that Garrett searched for, all the other Sid Reigns are not Lassie's. The one that he searched for is. And Fang searches for a Lassie. So, kind of crazy how like narrow and perfect that was.
Yep. Exactly. We did get the Kefka EX burst, so we were able to dull the Sarah. Don't think that's going to play too big of a factor here. Still looking at a pretty scary board.
Yeah.
Luckily, we do have the Arcanist. We can lock down the 2s potentially, but we do need to come up with an answer for the rest of the board, and we still have to keep cards in hand to feed to the Arcanist. Just the amount of pressure this 13 deck was able to apply kind of out the gate. This is what we kind of come to expect for 13 decks in general, as they've been pretty popular in the more recent years.
Yeah, and the
And
Sarah,
this new one's no different.
Zidane and Sarah left unchecked is GG, but Arcanist can obviously stop the Zidane, but the Sarah's it's ticking, it's gonna get there. So we're gonna have to see what Joseph can do.
Oh, looks like we are just gonna play something out. Maybe a second Victoria. It
Yep.
is. Yep. So we're gonna shoot for 7K.
Sarah's an 8K though. So
Maybe
I
we
think
just
that's a mistake.
realized we couldn't kill the Sarah there,
Yep.
and yeah, and honestly, without being able to kill the Sarah, it is going to kind of lock up the game for him. So there isn't too much else that really can be done. The pressure was applied. As mentioned, we didn't really have any kind of EX burst. Is a rough spot to be in against that deck. There was a lot of pressure coming out the gate.
There is something I do want to point out. And I'm curious if ice players are going to do stuff like this. Joseph did have Charlotte in his opening hand, and if he won the die roll and went first, would he have jammed that Charlotte on turn 1? If that's the case, that would have slowed down the FF13 deck like tremendously. So I'm
absolutely
curious if that's the way to play it or not. I kind of want to see stuff like that, just because I don't know the answer.
Also could have been a pretty interesting answer to taking all of this damage, right? Like negating the damage by tapping and then breaking forwards.
Yeah.
Without removal, that can get left unchecked. That would be very scary against the 13 deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that will do it for round 1. Congrats to Garrett, and we'll move on to round 2 here in just a moment.
All right, welcome to round 2 of the Portland Materia Cup. We have Milo M on the top versus Alex E on the bottom, and I
Yep.
think this is Chark versus Wall 7, maybe.
Yeah, very reminiscent of last year. Last year, of course, we did see Milo make it into the top with Chark, and he is giving a nice little run back here. And Wool 7 as well. Everybody's favorite little army in a can, fight a behemoth, get some party joiners, and
Oh, we got the
we'll
hand
see how
cam.
this thing goes. And we get to see our opening hands here from both players. Thank you for that. So
I see the
let's get to.
Sylvester. Do you know what Sylvester does?
I have read over him a little bit. He is a powerful card.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the right numbers are for something like that. We drew Sarah FFL here as well. But Sylvester being able to search out for the Wall 7 is really, really convenient, and being able to free caster multi 3-drops. So I'm curious.
Absolutely.
I think
It's not a hit, but it is one of those, enabler cards. So that for decks like this, you always have to have a balance of making sure. I know you and I both will enjoy delving into the math on all of that and making sure that we can hit the right cards. You got to keep those ratios real tight. So I'm sure Alex has done that here. He's starting off with a Sarah FFL, and Milo, of course, go ahead and saying I don't want to brick on too many arcs here. Got one out of the deck, ready to get picked up from like an Une or something like that as the game progresses. And we can already see one arc in hand. It is always one of the scary things about playing the Chaos Arc deck, that just one of the small fail rates that you could have is when you have too many dark cards in your hand. Of course, they are really important, but if you have them at the wrong time, too expensive, can't play the cards you need to play, it's always a danger with these decks. But luckily, the backup line, very efficient. Lots of summoners, and as we see here, Aiko into Rydia into Yuna.
Yeah, and this is really setting off alarm bells for me, if I'm Alex, because we paid 6 for this Rydia. So that means that Milo wants to interact in some way. And I'll also say that, I've played a lot of Wall 7, and I think Chaos Arc is a bad matchup. But I will say it's one of those things of you don't want to commit to the board unless you have a bunch of Wall 7 specials. At that point, that's when you're favored. But there's got to be some kind of interaction here if Milo is paying 6 for the Rydia.
And here it is. There's the Leviathan going on the Wool 7, and we do know exactly how powerful that is. Need to stop that effect. He's going to untap here and just go ahead and get out the Yuna, continue his ramp strategy. He has successfully pumped the brakes on Alex's game plan for the moment, and going to get a draw out of the first damage he takes. Setting himself up in a pretty good spot here. If I'm Alex, I'm definitely feeling a little rough. You almost just want to get your Warrior of Light to die at this point, right?
I'm curious.
Milo is not going to oblige.
I don't know if this is like a good play, or if Wall 7 players even do this anymore, but or play this card. Like, would you graph your Warrior Light here if you had graph in your LP?
I feel like that's not a winning line either. We do see that we do have another Warrior of Light in Alex's hand. I honestly, it might have been a line to genuinely consider on that previous turn.
Yeah, I was thinking graph or which like you said, it's unfortunate to remove your own Warrior of Light, but graph or Leo, because I think we need to. We couldn't cast anything in our hand except for the Ifrit, which we're not going to cast. So I think LB was what I was looking at. But we'll see what Alex chooses to do here. Astrologian. That's not
Yeah,
very
I
common
definitely
in
did find
this
it
deck.
interesting. He did not go for the Leo the previous turn. I do think he needs to apply that additional pressure and probably should have gone for something like that. However, we did see he had Amaterasu in hand,
Yeah.
probably wanted to just kind of hold up in case his opponent did go for something. But Milo, I think, was on the exact right game plan of, you know, I've successfully kind of thwarted your initial game plan here. You're slowed down. I gave you a little bit of a roadblock. I'm just gonna kind of wait and see at this point. I'm gonna build
Yep.
up. I know I have the late game. I just need to not throw away the earlier parts of the game.
Yep. One of these needs to go on top, and one needs to go on bottom for this Astrologian. And I was curious if that was Windy Stola, and it is. I remember, I think it's uncommon for Wall 7 decks to play Windy Stola, but I remember at the Winter Cup last year, some player in Raleigh, some players were playing that in their Wall 7 deck, and I thought that was really, really cool. Just a splash. You can only play it by discarding a Wall 4 or putting in a playoff Wall 7. So, but it's a powerful card, and once you're ahead, it helps you stay ahead. So that's an interesting sight.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you do go for the situation of, you know, we need our Wool 7 to resolve, it resolves, and then your opponent's playing on trying to clean you up with a Shantoto or something like that. And especially here against an Arc, a Y'shtola can put in, I mean, that's pretty substantial to be able to turn off an Arc's effect.
It's like an additional Amaterasu and or wall special, kind of. So
Exactly. Yep. And I do believe there are actually multiple copies in Alex's deck here. I don't know exactly how many, but I do believe he has at least 2 copies in the deck. It's a very interesting card. Oh, may have. Yeah, I believe he has a second one in hand. Of course, the Gilgamesh in hand as well.
this Siren is an interesting card. I feel like a lot of Chaos Arc decks have picked up this card, and it makes sense because over the years, the Chaos Arc decks have had like 10 or less forwards. Sometimes it's like 8 forwards and 2 monsters. There's just been a low forward count, and that's even gotten lower and lower ever since Limit Break existed, like came out. So Siren is a kind of overperformed in these decks. So finding a way to remove it that doesn't target, I think it's actually kind of a big ask, especially for
Absolutely.
a deck like Wall 7.
Yeah, and Siren, of course, just being able to, I mean, there's not that much interaction that the Wool 7 deck will have that will be targeted, but anything that he does go for is going to be something fairly deliberate, going to be fairly costly. If that does get negated by the Siren, that's a substantial loss, right? Like, we're going for any kind of LB cards or any kind of notable removal.
It makes
It's
you,
a rough spot to be in.
yeah. Oh, here we go. Look at that Sylvester. That's one other way to cheat in this Windy Stola, because I'm saying cheat in because it's not, wind isn't the dominant color for this dominant element for this deck. So that's really cool. I approve of this. This is really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's a very powerful angle to kind of gain access to that card. It is amusing that we've had Y'shtola, and it's a card that's kind of ebbed and flowed
Oh yeah.
inside the format. There have been formats where this card has been so dominant. There have been times in so many different formats where it's like, oh, it's a mandatory 3 of, it's a mandatory 1 of, it's a 0 of. It's just way too inefficient. And now we've kind of looped back. I feel like a lot of the effects are just so powerful that we almost have to be able to turn them off.
And they've also been in like a different variety of decks. Like they've been in like Dataluma, they've been in Storm. It's been like in several different decks. I
Absolutely.
almost played it at Worlds in my Warrior Light deck. It was the 51st card. It was in the deck until the last second, and then we decided we needed one more backup. It's like it's that good. You can litter res it. It's an amazing card.
And I do believe we went ahead and used the Y'shtola to negate the Une effect here.
Yes, that's correct. Which I'm curious if, I guess, if you wall special, the backup still gets bounced. So I think at that point, I guess we can't really tell. but what backup would be
What was
targeted with
targeted?
Une?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
Warrior
don't
of
know.
Light, it only protects forwards. So
Yeah, I don't know if I would use the bullet of the Y'shtola, so to speak. There, I feel like it is a very valuable bullet. Definitely, the arc is going to be the primary threat. But I mean, Alex may just kind of have deemed it enough of a threat. The Y'shtola is not going to be getting in while that Une's in play, and we're not getting rid of that Une while the Siren's in play. So it is a pretty dicey spot. So maybe he has something kind of planned out here of ways to get in.
6.
Oh, and there actually, I'm a little surprised we got rid of that Lena here. I mean, it's not active, but that Lena is a nice way of dealing with Siren, of course, because it does not target.
True. Well, I will say, like, Milo's taking 4 damage. You know,
we are applying pressure. Yeah, just from this one Warrior of Light.
Yeah.
He will have to answer it soon.
There's one card in Alex's deck that does 3 damage, you know. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it's Siren's gonna do a lot of work here, but it's not over. There's a lot that can go wrong for Milo here.
Absolutely. So I am curious if Alex does have like another plan to try to deal with the Siren, or if part of the plan is to just kind of run over the Siren and the Une and just kind of overload it with attacks and numbers here. Definitely is an option to kind of go either way. It just kind of depends on what the player's deck and his kind of play style will shape up to be.
Yeah, the Zeromus was revealed on Lunafreya, and that was my first instinct. I'm like, snap, take that. However, look at Alex's hand. He can't cast it, right? But if you have Zeromus and Wall Special, it's like the perfect like setup to win the game. But unfortunately, he couldn't cast it.
Yeah, we're very far away from being able to play it with neither ice or lightning in hand, I believe. So a little dicier. Oh, and Milo is going to go ahead and running out the Titus. I believe we have an Amaterasu in hand. That's probably going to get fired off after we pay. But Milo, I mean, while we are going to be losing, 8 CP worth of value on this negation. Oh, maybe not. All right, so we're going to let it go.
Interesting.
And I do believe that is an Amaterasu there.
I wonder if there's going to be a turn where we just send it with this Clive and try to win the game somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that is an option. The Clive does become a 10k haste. That is a, like I mentioned, maybe that is kind of Alex's game plan of, I'm just going to try swing over you. I don't even care that you're here. I just want to be some big bodies, and we're just going to try to get in before you can remove my entire board. But Milo over here, with the 2-card draw off a Titus, kind of an embarrassment of riches, 5 backups, a lot of cards in hand, and here comes down the chaos. And we're probably going to hold priority here, maybe not.
Well, he can't take the Warrior Light because Chaos can only take Light or Dark. Cannot take those.
Yeah, so not really going to matter then on the hold priority.
But I was actually getting a little worried for Milo because I think he went very I think that's the first Chaos he's seen, and that was a lot of cards. He could have searched for it with his backups and stuff, but it's interesting.
And so another thing to note is we didn't discard Warrior of Light to protect Warrior of Light. I gotta assume, at this point we're kind of hoping to hit something off the top, but I mean, he did also have like the Une to pick up the arc that he had discarded earlier, so that also leaves him in a rough spot. Unfortunately, at this point, the Chaos Arc player has kind of assembled a critical mass with the untapped Une, the Chaos in play, the Siren in play, it is going to be very, very difficult. He's in the full driver's seat, so at this point, he really just, it is his game to lose.
Yep, I was going to say, I actually don't think Chaos Arc players play Mott very often, but that's interesting. I was going to say, I think it's time to play LB cards and get in there in the game as soon as possible. Don't give Alex the chance to draw out of it. And
absolutely,
Milo did just that.
Yep, he is in strong agreement with you.
Look at
all
this.
Right, so Y'shtola into the Warrior of Light. I like this play. Maybe we can get a like Zero Miss off the top here. Zero Miss could come out, freeze the Une. If we get really lucky, we are going
would be pretty good too.
Yep. Yeah, just something to kind of lock down this board is what we are praying for. And I do believe Milo has a Leviathan in hand, but if he fires that off, the Y'shtola is probably going to get countered. I do love this play from Alex. He was patient on the previous turn. Knew now is his time. He's going to go ahead and go for it again. All right, and here we're going to go Arc.
And he used the Y'shtola to cancel the original Arc. And then we have Lev on the Warrior Light.
And then we went for the Lev after we forced the Y'shtola to negate the second Arc. So that was a very nice little chain, just so everybody was following it. Milo did go for the Arc on the Warrior of Light. The Warrior of Light special counter to negate any kind of targets for the rest of the turn. With that on the stack, Milo knew that if he just fired off the Lev, it would get negated by the Y'shtola, and that would kind of be it. So instead, he activated his Ico, pulled back one of the Arcs in the discard pile, played it, targeting the Y'shtola, forcing the Y'shtola to sacrifice itself to negate the effect, and then that paved the way to be able to activate the Leviathan in his hand and negate the Warrior's Light 7. So no effects were going to come out. That was going to pretty much put an end to Alex there. He would just be left with that lone 7 drop 9k, and it would go back to Milo's turn. He'd be able to pull back the Arc, remove it, push in for game.
Yeah, and without that Wall 7 resolving, I think I kind of agree. The writing's on the wall there. It's not looking great for Alex, but
absolutely,
that was a crazy match. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big believer in Wall 7 right now, but Sylvester is really strong. Like that's
the Y'shtola also. Like I loved the protection. I like the patience, Alex. Unfortunately, Milo having the first Leviathan to negate the Warrior of Light was a very heads-up play, leaving open the mana to be able to go ahead and make sure he had the color to cast Leviathan so that he could negate anything kind of coming out of Alex's hand, specifically the Wool 7. Yeah, it was a great played match by both players.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll wrap it up for this round, and see you in round 3. Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Portland Materia Cup. We have Ryson D versus on the top versus Michael B on the bottom. And it looks like we're going to have FF13 versus FF12. FF12 got this new Ashe and this new Larsa. And the new Ashe has been very impressive to me. So I'm looking forward to see what Michael has brought to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big card that I was hoping to see some of this weekend. We got our double-digit Final Fantasies duking it out here, 12 and 13. Uh, Definitely pretty aggressive decks. So as we saw with the 13 deck earlier, can put out a lot of pressure. We'll see what kind of comes out of the 12 deck. Well, not quite as fast as the 13, but definitely has some power to it.
That Gabranth that was searched for, that was a pretty staple card back in the early days. So it's kind of nice to see it come back. Ooh, there's a Raijin. So this makes me believe that this is a Bosch deck, and there it is. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and that Bosch is very interesting. So we did, of course, lose Chaos, or at least the capability of abusing that S ability to mill over so many cards of our deck to get the Fujin, the Raijin in play, really enable a lot of very powerful strategies. However, this Bosch, and look at this, we're able to get them out for a discount since we already have 12 characters in play.
Mm-hmm.
Going to combat, we do look at the top 3 and then put them in the discard. And Cha-ching! Of course, there is a Fujin already. So specifically, these cards are going from the top of the deck to the discard pile. Does trigger Fujin's ability. Get to look at the top next to one Bosch down. And of course, we do have the full art Bosches. Those look very nice.
Oh my goodness.
With the Ash follow-up.
Look at this turn.
Yeah, a lot of these cards are deceptively cheap. Some of the numbers up in the top left look a little higher than what we are paying for them, but they do get reduced based on some of the 13 characters in play, or 12 characters in play.
Yeah, and I've always liked Bosch as a card, although in Final Fantasy, I guess it's a little different from other card games, because Final Fantasy, you draw 2 cards a turn, and Bosch makes it kind of like you draw 3 cards a turn, but you're also milling the other 2 cards. So that's technically 5 cards a turn that are being left from your deck. So you can't do that forever. So you have to win the game with the cards that you see. And the fact that you can mill over Fujin and Raijin definitely help with that. And then these like Ash and Bosch, and they're critical mass cards. The more 12 cards you have in play, the better. And I'm curious to see what other 12 cards we see out of this deck.
Yeah, and something that is really big to note here is like this is almost an ideal start from our 12 player Michael. I can't think of much better opener than, you know, getting our 2 backups, getting the Bosch discount, Bosch only requiring 2 12 characters, then of course Ash coming out, Ash requiring the third 12 character, but we met all these requirements. We got to draw a card. We got the Fujin in play. The only thing that could have hit better is if we also hit a Raijin.
All right, do you see this? All right, first of all, wow. Luna Freya in an FF13 deck. That's, whoa, didn't see that coming. But second of all, we selected the Brynhilder and targeted the Fujin. It looks like there was not 10 cards in the break zone. However, Ash's ability makes Fujin take 2,000 less damage.
Wow, so that's gonna be pretty big here. So did we? Yeah, that is an unfortunate, you know, kind of side effect of going for that there.
Yeah. So my first experience against Ash, I was playing with 4-color Warrior Light, and somebody at locals, they pointed out when I played Ferris that they could reduce all the 1,000 pings to my Warrior Lights by doling all of their FF12s, because they can target your opponent's forwards. So I was like, yo, that's kind of crazy that you can prevent Ferris triggers from happening.
Right, and we still see more of this fusion with the 12 and deck? 8. I imagine we're either getting a Cypher would be insane here, as we would be able to get the Raijin back, but even just a Raijin, nice. And there is a Cypher. That is going to be a powerful turn. Is really showing off some big powers. As long as we have enough lightning, I don't think we have enough cards in hand to get the Raijin and the Cypher going, but we are set up for next turn. And of note, that Ash is also not like a once per turn or only her can tap for that effect. It is any 12 characters. So he did also have the ability to still tap the Bosch for protection on that previous turn. So really, really powerful interactions going on with that Ash being so large, buffing the whole board, and then also providing a lot of protection. It is kind of an aggro deck's dream to be able to have check all of those boxes. The only thing we're kind of missing at the moment is something that we saw in like previous matches, like an Amaterasu or a Y'shtola to prevent any kind of board wipes. But out of the 13 deck, we're not really going to be seeing that.
I may have missed something, but I don't think a Dia was activated that turn. Am I crazy? I think we could have a Dia the Luna Freya and got one more point of damage, but maybe I missed something.
I don't believe so. I don't know if I assume we had to have had 10 cards in the discard pile by this point.
Yeah, we had 10 because Fujin attacked with the first strike, so.
Oh, then yeah, absolutely.
I think that Michael is dramatically ahead in this scenario regardless, but also Adia's, I see this Earth Lightning. Adia's pretty good against that card specifically.
Yeah. Absolutely. So lightning coming out here. Maybe we're going to activate.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Just letting it happen.
Maybe we think the Dia, yeah, or maybe we think the idea is sorcery speed.
Yeah, only on main phase.
It is instant speed. It is relegated to your turn only. However, it is instant speed interaction.
Ash has been slain, but I do believe we have a backup Ash. Wait.
And we did lose the Bosch as well.
Adia should be dual, I believe.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why she would have untapped.
Yeah. That's okay. Look at also look at these Terra sleeves. I think these are new to the Square Enix store. These are really cool.
Those are fantastic. Yeah, this is a beautiful card art.
I think there are other sleeves that got released as well.
That's maybe awesome. We could be on the lookout for those at like nationals or other events. That would be really cool if we could see more of those come out.
Yeah, I hope they have them there. That'd be a perfect opportunity to get them. All right, let's see what Bryson has for us here, because this is
Dire Straits.
I'm kind of a little surprised that Bryson wasn't the aggressor here. You know, like,
yeah, he didn't take a mulligan. There was definitely a possibility that maybe we need to have like a more aggressive hand. As it going into these games, you don't know what you're against. Maybe if things had been different, we had a little bit more knowledge, might have been a different time to kind of swap that around.
All right, we're in the tank a little bit here. I did see that he picked up a Sarah, but unfortunately Sarah's not going to do too much without other FF13 forwards in play.
Yep. I mean, we are backs against the wall at the moment, so I do understand. We're kind of digging through our LB, checking in with our options, but you know, if this idea really starts get going, I mean, we have so few options, and we are playing out the lightning.
Is it lightning gets haste when it's the last card, right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, so we are allowed to play it still. But it doesn't, it has a leave the field ability.
Correct. Yep.
So right now it's just a...
We either get a lightning or play a lightning when it leaves the field. Here comes the Sarah.
I see. Okay. So we're wanting the 13 forward in play so that Sarah is a removal spell now. Okay. Well, we are also aware of the Cipher in hand, so this is kind of scary for Bryson.
Cipher into Fujin Raijin Adia activation. It's looking like we could potentially be looking at the last turn of the game here.
This is a this FF12 deck kind of turned into an FF8 deck pretty quickly, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you know those cards all too well. They're very powerful.
Oh, yeah. Some of my favorite cards in the game.
And definitely a nice synergy, especially with Chaos gone in this deck. It is interesting to note that he does have to balance, the 3 colors for this deck: the lightning, the wind, and the earth.
Opting for the Fujin. Do we have the Raijin in hand?
Or maybe we have more Raijins in the deck. One or the other.
Discard? Oh, okay, we do. Okay.
Oh, I guess we just had it all anyways and probably didn't need either. I'm having a feeling yep, there's the Fujin also in hand. Yeah. I mean, it works if you just have it.
Oh, Cloud.
Anyway.
Okay. The dual Cloud. That's awesome. This is I'm super excited. These games, these decks, this is a lot of cool stuff that I feel like I haven't seen in a while, and
so I am curious. We didn't activate Adia again.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if we just forgot that that's an ability on the card.
Absolutely. Of course, lightning is in hand now, but it looks like that's not going to play too much of a factor. We are going to go ahead and put out.
Okay, he remembered. There we go.
We did get it this time. Okay. We'll mill 2, kill the lightning before blocks, and that will deal the final point of damage, which of course is an EX burst, but does not matter. They'll put that one to bed for the 12 versus 13 debate. If anybody had a argument on which one was the better game, well,
I don't know.
We know which one won.
I see the 8 cards turn sideways there, so I mean. Oh, that was exciting.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you hear 13, you definitely expected a lot of pressure coming out from it. I did expect the 12 player to build up. I didn't expect the 13 player to build up quite as much as he did. There was just a lot of quick pressure from the 12 player. One of the big benefits is they're both getting their pressure and their development, because they do need the backups, or at least some number of characters to get those discounts. But like I mentioned, that was almost a perfectly idealized start there.
Yeah, I do know that there's a lot of hands in the 12 deck that you play like 2 backups and then you play Bosch. But you go to 0 cards, you draw 1 from the Bosch, hopefully. But I do know there's a lot of setup hands like that, at least in the old version that played Water, because Larsa, Water Larsa, that's the way to search for Bosch, but now you have the wind one. So there's a lot of different choices, what 3-element deck you want to go down. So it does make sense to have 2 of the 12 backups in play, especially now because of Ash. It's not just Bosch that's discounted anymore. And Ash can
making that backups. Making that deck look like a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff coming out from it, and congrats to Michael there as we finish up round 3.
All right, stay tuned. Hello and welcome to round 4 of the Portland Materia Cup. We have Matthew H on the top versus Jaden E on the bottom.
And of course, of note, Jaden has a oh my gosh, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Banana Nyan um, cats going on his
Is that what that
little dice
is?
bag. Yeah, absolutely. I
I
love it.
couldn't tell.
Yeah, they're cats that are also partially bananas. As a tongue twister. Oh my gosh, that's hard to get out there. But we do have some very interesting decks, specifically a mono water Zodiark. That that sounds interesting. I know both of us are fans of any Zodiark, but this new Zodiark especially is looking pretty interesting. A very fun card to kind of mess with and very powerful effect.
Oh yeah, and looks like Matthew here is playing Water Lightning. I would call this EX bursts, and then this is Warrior of Light from Jaden. Zodiark. I hope we get to see Zodiark on the feature. That'd be awesome. It's definitely one of my favorite. I hope it works out as a card. One of my favorite cards in the new set. It's very like all in though, right? So like I wonder if there's any way to synergize with the card. I'll have to think it over.
Yeah. It is interesting to see the Water Lightning deck, this super heavy EX burst, not quite like the Water Lightning monsters that you have played, that we've kind of seen do well at some of these events. Is a little bit reminiscent of one of the decks that we saw at Nats, or right before Nats last year, specifically at Portland. There were a lot of these very heavy EX Burst, Water Lightning forwards decks. Some were Scion, some were not. It's interesting that we do see that. Of course, we do see a different Raijin here than we saw last round with the backup.
Yeah, this Raijin gives all your ciphers haste. So that's really convenient because it's a backup and it's hard to remove it. So just anytime you play the cipher, then it's going to have haste. And generally speaking, with the Water Lightning decks, you kind of know it's EX Burst heavy if it's playing that Cane that was used for CP. One, because it's a burst, and two, the Porums that are in the deck are likely I'm assuming it's Porum, but Porum is a Water FF4 forward that has the EX Burst, and that's usually what's recurred with that Cane. So
Absolutely, yeah. And of course, both decks going to be fairly EX Burst heavy. With the Warrior of Light deck, King Tycoon getting the Lena going down for another Lena, slowly just kind of building up here. The standard Warrior of Light modus operandi, and this Water Lightning. So a big thing usually for these Water Lightning decks is also the amount of haste. So we already saw Irving come down. I really like getting the Irving down early, especially on only 2 cards in the break zone. So he did clean up all the cards in the break zone. And big thing about that is if he did happen to hit like an EX burst of Kusith or something like that, it would at least negate one of those, always trying to hedge to cut off some of your opponent's options. And of course, we are just going to go all in on backups, probably getting the main man himself, the Warrior of Light, since we have met all 4 colors. So it'll be interesting if he can do anything to disrupt this play before Jaden has a chance to get this Warrior of Light in play next turn.
Oh, I think this is a broken sleeve.
And I believe this was the issue that we were informed of. So Jaden did run into a split sleeve as he was going through the deck here. So they are just going to, I believe the sleeve just split. They're going to go ahead and doctor that and get it fixed right up before the match does continue. So just a quick little slide out for the outer sleeves.
I'm curious on your opinion of this, Sam. So this turn was completely fine from Jaden. And obviously having the Warrior Lightning hand, that's great. but we had access to basically everything. Because we had the Cryo too, right? Uh, do you think you play the Tyro here, or would you play the Cryo? You wouldn't have the Tyro. That was your only Earth card, so you wouldn't have the Warrior Light. But you would have 3 Warrior Light backups in play in case you draw like Refia in the future. I don't
If
know.
I
I
had
always feel like
already
it's
had
tough.
if I had already had the Refia in hand, I feel like that is the spot I would be looking. But without the Refia already, I actually really do like this line of just going ahead and pretty much putting it on my opponent. Like, you need to have something, or I'm going to pretty much be doing one of the best things in my deck. I mean, it's Warrior of Light into Refia becomes the best thing. We are getting 3 more cards now with after we play the Warrior of Light, so we may have a Refia afterwards anyways. That's the angle that I would be more. I do like him going down here,
Okay.
but it is definitely something of note that you can just kind of, go for a little bit more Warrior of Light. Right here, we only do have 3 total Warriors of Light. If we did have a Refia, not that powerful. I mean, always want more rather than less
And we have
for
a
our numbers of Warrior of Light.
little combo here. Burnhilder with the Warrior Light ping.
Yep.
Oh, look at that timing. That was perfect. So we're gonna
And
draw on both sides. But
yep, very heads
pinging
up play
before. Yeah.
to make sure that we got the ping done before the damage went in, just in case anything happened, especially as we mentioned in this matchup. And it is funny that both players have this Lena out, so they are going to be drawing off of each other's EX burst, just constantly feeding each other cards back and forth. It's an
Adia.
interesting trade-off. And so we did see this idea last round. We're going to see a little bit more this round. We do see one of those other very interesting cards from Matthew with that new Yuna. So he can use that Yuna to be able to shrink. However, we are going to get the Adia shrink before we go away. Oh, and double lightning. That's some good fuel to the graveyard.
Second
Pitching
Adia.
2, going another Adia deep.
Get another Amaterasu?
I have a feeling that's not happening here.
So, just to throw this out there too, there's a lot of interaction going on here, which is awesome. But if Jaden didn't have the first Ama, then we could have had a turn of Adia into Cypher into pick up Irving, play the Irving, and then like Cypher can attack, Irving can attack. So that would have been an insane turn. However, that's not what happened. The Amaterasu happened, and then we got this. So that could have been a very, very assertive turn if we didn't have the Amaterasu.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do know that our opponent has a Cypher still in hand. I did see a Mist Dragon on Jaden's hand, so this will be interesting if he'll be able to hold that open to be able to potentially counter that card when it does come out. Cypher, of course, becoming a little less threatening if there are no cards in the graveyard, both for him to pick back up and for him to... Oh, and there it is. Yep.
Okay, I was curious. I'm like,
preemptively firing off this Mist Dragon.
I saw the Shantoto for a second. I'm like, wait a second. I don't think that was the right card.
Yeah, I got a little confused as well. So we must just not have any kind of gas in hand other than that Mist Dragon, or hoping for something. I don't know how you feel about it here, but I know we have a Kuchulain potentially to like negate something, but I feel like I almost would... Well, I guess most limit break cards aren't doing too much for us because they're just going to get eaten by Adia.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have Shantoto back up in the hand now, but Shantoto, I would say one of the weaknesses...
Unfortunately, so does our opponent.
I know one of our weaknesses, the Water Lightning in general, is LB Shantoto. I know you could play the Leviathan that cancels auto abilities, but that's not too common in a lot of Water Lightning decks. Um, one, here it's not an EX burst, right? And that's kind of one of the main themes of it. And two, in the monster decks, you don't play very many summons in the monster decks. So I do know that's like commonly a weakness. And also kind of with the accidental showing of the backup Shantoto, I don't think that Matthew's gonna overcommit very much anymore. And we're not even gonna go to damage 3 here.
Okay,
to play
yeah,
around Arc and Ferris. So
that was going to be something I was kind of considering, is do we want to put Jade into that 3rd damage? It is a really dicey spot. He took his previous turn off, taking just 1 point of damage here. Not that scary. These decks are very attrition heavy, very EX heavy. As we will see, they will draw lots of cards, generate lots of value. You don't want to be able to kind of give them that extra leg up. If we had an Arc into Refia into Ferris turn here, this game could already be a wrap. So definitely heads up play to not push out to damage 3. It looks like we are going to be buying back our Warrior of Light here.
yes. And I was going to mention that I think we're pretty favored on the Warrior Light side here, because I think the original thought process from Matthew is to go 2 to 7 is try to win from 2 to 7 damage, but that's not very easy to do in this kind of scenario. And if you don't 2 to 7, there's a Shantoto coming, whether it's LB or backup. And that is already pretty difficult. So like just knowing all the knowledge here and information, that Refia as well.
Oh wow, really applying the pressure. Yeah. So I don't know if I love the line here. I do almost. I mean, I guess it kind of worked out since we didn't get the untap. But
yeah,
if we had tried to put the idea on top, one of the scariest things against this Water Lightning deck is the number of EXs that they will hit that can disrupt your board. Like the amount of kills that exist for Refia are quite numerous. So we potentially being able to kind of tuck things on top and then take that as damage. If we could have taken the idea, that would have been quite nice.
Yeah, if you put a D on top, then it's not a burst. Is that a Shinryu? A light Shinryu? It is.
Looks like it. Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay.
Yuna may not be a threat this weekend, but he was prepared for any kind of 3, 6, and 9 drops.
Yeah, I mean, Shinryu would have got rid of 2 of these forwards. That's.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And speaking of, there is exactly that removal that I was thinking of for that 3-drop Refia. I don't think we have hit our 10 cards for Cypher Haste yet. Or for Cypher Kill yet.
Yeah, it has haste, but it will not remove anything. I think it's 7. But we're hesitant here, right? Do we attack? This is the problem,
we give
right?
them the... Yeah. Is a dicey spot. A single EX burst, let alone just going to damage 3, but an EX burst specifically of like a Tyro, or even a King Tycoon going and getting a Ferris can really kind of flip this game on its head. Pretty much knock out everything else. Kusith rebuying anything. We are in the spot where pretty much any EX burst would be disastrous. And I do always love kind of talking about that in particular, where it's like, even if it's only a 10% chance, but if it's a 10% chance that 100% loses us the game, is that worth it?
Right.
And that's definitely where you have to start weighing the odds of, can I win the game otherwise? And I do think the answer is yes, but unfortunately, Refia coming out here, gonna put that Cypher away.
Bottom.
And this, this will. Oh, it's interesting that we played on the bottom.
Yeah, I would have
Wonder if
considered
we were
top as well.
worried.
Oh,
Oh, we untapped the
wrong one.
tire. Yep, easy quick fix. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
So this is the
I
risk.
feel like I wanted to go top.
All right, dodged. Yeah, if it was top here, then it's just automatically not a burst, right?
Yeah.
So,
And then what? If Aranea blocks, then we can attack with Noctis. If Aranea doesn't block, then it's a guaranteed safe non-burst.
yep. Interesting. But yeah, back to the damage talk real quick. I think we're kind of getting out of reach for the Water Lightning deck. And that 10% auto lose thing, I think it also is good to realize who is favored in the long game, right? And in this case, it's obviously Warrior of Light. But there is also merit to say, like, Matthew has to pick and choose his spots. He can't just full on send aggro, but he can't take too long to win the game either. So it's not an easy balance, and it just so happens that Jaden has had access to 2 Refias, and that's a little tough for the situation. But I mean, this deck has, I mean, Lena can.
Oh, and here we go. So
Lena can get back Refia. You can Kusith back Refia. You can naturally draw Refia. You can Noctis it. Like, there's so many Refias. So we gotta put the game away at some point.
I do feel like I don't know. It is a tough spot.
Yeah.
Of kind of it's always a perilous decision when you are against the Warrior of Light player. You feel like a genius when you swing and they don't have a damage 3 or they don't have an EX burst. But I mean, you're definitely also going to remember those times where you swung and it was there, and that's kind of the end of the game.
Yep. But I will say, any chance to win's better than none. So, and I'm not saying there's no chance to win here, but it's still looking pretty tough, because, like, I will say that, I mean, I think Jaden's pretty far ahead here in a sense of he doesn't even need damage 3. So it's, if we're not, are we going to be able to get to go do 2? I can't talk. 2 to 7. What I was speaking about earlier, is that really a plausible strategy at this point in the game? Because
once your opponent has in play, 2 to 7 is much easier said than done.
Yeah.
With all of these, first off, while we are constantly removing forwards like we are, and also just with the sheer number of blockers, both decks are fairly good at removing forwards. And like we mentioned, both of them are pretty good at drawing cards and efficient bodies. So there's just a battle of attrition kind of going on nonstop. But a lot of these Warrior Light cards, I mean, Warrior of Light himself is a +2 CP card. We are drawing a card and paying nothing for it. So that's really hard to keep up with. Refia, of course, just technically going infinite with the amount of value that it can generate. These ciphers and Adias could be quite good, but they unfortunately are just not sticking around long enough to be generating their value.
And if it comes to decking, I would be under the assumption that the Water Lightning deck is going to deck first because of all the milling.
Absolutely.
Like, Warrior Light draws a lot of cards and search for a lot of cards too, but Adia mills a lot. Cypher mills.
And when they need to, they can kind of pump the brakes on some of those card draw effects. Whereas the Adia, the Cypher, like, if you want to use their effects, we're going through a lot of cards very quickly, as we see. I mean, this turn alone, we turned over 5 cards out of the discard or out of the deck.
Yep.
Just from our effects. So that's a lot.
All right, so this Cypher can attack and remove.
Get rid of this Warrior Light.
Yes.
Yep.
And then we can Adia
Oh, we've already
Oh, we already
did.
did,
We
I'm
had
sorry.
the
Yes.
Ferris. Yeah.
I wonder if we're supposed to... oh, we wanted damage 3, though. I was going to say, should we trade with the Cypher? But if we do, then there's a chance the Cloud doesn't attack.
I think that's still fine. I think we trade if we can. Does the Raijin also get first strike though?
It gives haste.
Only haste? Okay, then
Yeah.
I feel inclined. Even if we had something pretty powerful in our hand, I think I would just go ahead and make that trade.
Yeah, you see picking up his cards. So at bare minimum, a Shantoto is happening this turn because we saw it earlier, right?
Yep.
Oh, we need Earth.
Oh, we do have to pay the Earth for it. Yep. Make a quick adjustment, and there it is. All right, and yep. See, here is a problem that we are definitely running into, is just being so low on cards. All right, Irving coming out. Gets rid of 2 Refias, one of course being in damage, so that does lock up Refia for the rest of the game. Definitely helps him out here. And even getting a couple more hits. Love being able to do that against the... Oh, are we going to? So here's an interesting line. We can choose to activate this EX Burst just to get our opponent to draw a card from Lena.
I think I would.
Now that may not sound good, but if we're looking at deck as a potential way of ending this game, that might be an avenue to consider here.
Yeah, and I was about to mention that I think Matthew kind of somewhat turned the corner here, which is interesting. And I would activate this if there was like 10 or less cards in his deck. So, but if I don't know, it's close. Because like, yeah, here's extra damage, right?
All right, yep, and here's the lightning coming out. Not going to get the card draw, but we are getting a hasty little lightning here. Saw that come out much earlier. And that'll put him to 5. Tyro, of course, being activated at this point.
This is the turn that matters.
Yep, Rydia down. At least 1 Warrior of Light and a Ferris down. We'll see what kind of response Jaden has here, but it does need to be something quite substantial. Looks like both players have kind of run through a lot of their deck. A lot of attrition.
I can't quite tell how many cards Matthew has in hand, but this is the spot I was kind of looking for in the last few turns, because the tempo is in his favor now, whereas before with the Warrior Light in play and all the Refias, it was very clear that Jaden had the tempo, but after the Shantoto turn, that kind of gave away the tempo. So we'll see. Ooh,
okay,
Cloud.
And here comes Cloud. Probably going to go ahead and remove some cards, draw a card, and get rid of this lightning. Unfortunately, of course, we cannot get rid of the lightning and kill it. That would be ideal here. But getting rid of the Odin is, I guess, our second best option.
Yep, and a Hooded Man in case another one's drawn.
Yep, those heads up plays. All right, we do still have the Tyro active, like I mentioned, so we can make this Cloud go up even bigger. And a Shinryu of his own.
Both players have the Shinryu in a deck. Okay. That's kind of surprising to me because I feel like a lot of people played Shinryu specifically for Yuna, and Yuna is long gone.
Yeah, maybe it's just kind of a holdover from that, or maybe it they found that they still liked in the deck in general, or it could just be it's an unknown format. Shinryu is a powerful, good card, It kind of does cover a lot of bases, especially from aggro. If you're concerned about the 13 aggro deck, it's not bad there.
Yeah. The -7, I guess, is pretty relevant there.
Yep. It looks like we're kind of reviewing over the board.
This always makes it... it's always funny to me when I see players looking at the break zone and RFG so many times, because, I mean, this is a long game, right? So they gotta make sure the counts of certain cards. And
yeah, we're counting what's left in the deck, really.
I always find it amusing.
Inventory. Yep. Absolutely. And another thing, going back to Shinryu versus the 13 deck, specifically, it won't get hit by the Sarah as well. So it is fairly safe against a lot of the things. I mean, it still gets hit by Bahamut, but this is an interesting card. I wonder if that was like a deciding factor for Jaden this weekend.
Yeah.
All right. So this is not where the water lightning player wants to be. We wanted to be where we were last turn, where we had forwards in play. The removal is just not quite as efficient coming out from that deck as opposed to the threats.
5.
And so this is definitely making... Oh, and Terra. We have not seen a ton of this Terra as of late. So we'll see what we grab here. Oh, and a Mist Dragon. It's an interesting play. Just kind of trying to cut down as many options from his opponent as possible.
Yeah, we did that because of the lightnings. Although I think, wasn't all the lightnings... Oh, no, there was one lightning.
Oh, there was a lightning in there, and... Yep, and had played the Odin, so... Oh, and there is another Odin right back in there, but just a vanilla Hooded Man 8K. So not getting his effect, not doing too much here.
He does have haste. Yeah, I mean, we gotta do something.
Yeah, I think we're trading off the Terra. I'm gonna go ahead and get something back.
Kusith, I assume, right? Kusith, get back Warrior Light is my guess.
That seems pretty good for me.
I also think that Jaden did the Mist Dragon there because there was threat of him losing the game if he didn't Mist Dragon. So I think that Terra play was valid. I don't.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
see an issue with that, because I did see that he was looking over the Kusith last turn with the Terra, but I think that's a little greedy, and it could have cost him the game possibly. So I like the Mist Dragon line.
All right, so hidden effect. Are we going to use Tiro on the no? So we didn't pump our guy in response to the Warrior of Light untapping all our backups. Might be getting too cute. Doesn't really necessarily need that, but it does look like we are down to, I believe that's 5 to 3 cards in deck. Yeah, so we are looking at a potential deck out. I mean, at this point, unless we dealt 3 points of damage this turn, it is going to come down to deck out if Jaden were to win.
Flip them all over. Oh, Ude. That's a good one.
Absolutely.
I want to look. Does Arc randomize them? I think this is a chance that you can
stack your deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check. Return the cards to the bottom of your deck in any order.
All right. So, well, you can choose what your draws and your EXs could be.
Thornton. Lina. Okay, Thornton is one of those cards though that if you choose the search, then you have to take. Yeah. So the game would be over.
If he had taken something.
The game is over though, because there's only one card. So.
And that will put a wrap on it. So it did, of course, come down to deck out.
Wow.
Interesting game, very grindy, kind of like what we mentioned from the start. Knew it was going to kind of just be a healthy back and forth. Unfortunately, the Warrior of Light cards not burning through the deck quite as haphazardly as the FF8 cards do.
Yeah, and I felt like Jaden was in control there for the majority of the game, but there were little spots of weakness, and I do feel like Matthew like found those spots. I don't think Matthew did anything necessarily wrong there. It just didn't work out with the resiliency of Warrior of Light. So
Absolutely. If a turn or two had been missed on Jaden's side, more so than that one very early on where we chose not to attack, to not give the option for that damage 3. If any other turn had been kind of like that, where we just kind of didn't have anything to do, it definitely could have spelled doom for Jaden. So it was a pretty interesting game of back and forth.
yeah, absolutely. All right, we will see you for round 5. Hello and welcome to round 5 of the Portland Materia Cup. We have Morgan H on the top playing against Philip P on the bottom, and it looks like it's going to be a Warriors mirror.
Absolutely.
And I think
we do have deck list here this
Yeah.
time, and we can actually we're off to a quick start already, and you can see one of those big differences in deck list with the Ferris coming out from Morgan
and the Elwyn.
and
Yeah, Ferris, a new card. This is like build your own backup situation. The Elwyn is kind of your Norse Talon in this sense, right? Because it's a fire backup that's getting a Ferris, but it's getting a water backup, you know. With the Lena, or maybe I haven't looked at the list yet, but maybe Ford Lena is a thing, the new Ford Lena. But we see Volker from Philip here going pretty all in. But I'm guessing this is gonna go get a Mog, and we're gonna play the Mog. because we saw the fair. Oh, it's not. Okay. Interesting.
Getting the Yuzuki instead to,
Yeah.
with these decks, non-zero amount is going to be damage related. Could potentially shut down some Axe Stars or other damage.
Yeah, I wonder, outside of Kuchulain, I wonder how many answers Morgan has to the Yuzuki, actually. I'm gonna check.
Yeah, and once it's out, we can see the Zidane in Morgan's hand. That's definitely would have been an answer if it had not already come down. So pretty interesting spot for this matchup. Fairly similar mirrors. We do have the Clives and Ifrits on each side, as we can already see kind of coming down. But the main big difference here is Morgan even naming his deck after it, the Ferris. Whereas those slots kind of split up just across like your standard Warriors package card. Nothing too surprising coming out of Philip here, but all looking very powerful.
And we see here the Ferris getting the Lina, playing it, and then going to combat. You get to play a 2-cost card or less here because of Ferris and 2 backups. So even though Philip doesn't have a hand, the Zidane is unblockable, so we get in a point of damage.
Yeah. And one of the trade-offs for that Ferris, I believe, from what I'm looking at Morgan's list, is there is no Volker. So, that's becoming one of the big differences that Philip already started out with here. Volker, of course, when that card is left unanswered, does come into play, does generate quite a lot. No Amaterasu.
There is one Bahamut, exactly one, in the deck, and we're getting it with the Moody. So that is the answer to Yuzuki technically here. Outside of the Kuchulains. Whoa, is that a Minwoo? That's a Minwoo in the break zone.
That is. I haven't seen that man in a minute.
Whoa. Clive, okay.
All right, and this is our new Clive coming out as well.
Ooh, Ama on the Zidane. Okay.
Yep. Players playing with pretty good pace here. So we're actually going to go for the Ivas.
We're ignoring it. We're ignoring the Yuzuki. That's interesting. So does this mean it's all about power? Just 9Ks are bigger than 8Ks? Is that what the game's going to turn out to? That'd be kind of interesting.
I think that is kind of the decision that we're making if we're going after the Tivas. It's definitely an interesting spot if Philip does not, just draw, or if Philip had drawn like any kind of warrior off the top, Tivas, of course, just letting him play those for free. A lot of value generated there without it in play. I mean, he actually has to play it out. Morgan does have 3 backups to Philip's 1, so I really don't hate that play. And Ferris, of course, being an EX Burst here. Both players with Lena, so EX Bursts are a group activity here.
Yeah, the playfield is even. And actually, I actually like Lena on Lena here. I like games like that because I actually like it when players get access to a lot more cards because I feel like it's a lot more skillful when both players have a bunch like that. So we're going to see stuff like that anytime a burst happens. And especially in a game like this, I think this is going to be an attrition game. And now,
and stuff like Ferris, I feel like
that's perfect for that.
Kind of help. Yeah, exactly.
I also think backups in this situation matter a lot too. So we're gonna raise the Zidane.
And the new Clive as well, honestly. The old Clive being a little bit, just a pretty standard good card, but the new Clive definitely, especially if we're going to continue with this War of Attrition style, as you mentioned.
We got raise on Zidane, Zidane triggers, and then we're going to raise Axstar on the other side. And we're choosing the modes here.
Wow, that's a trade of blows going off there.
Yeah.
The Axtar with the Zidane on the stack.
So the Dual Frozen, I'm assuming we're gonna put into play and then shoot. Ooh, that's perfect.
Oh, so we're gonna big shoot here. This is gonna be a very big play from Philip. Axtar, of course, being so powerful.
And then Zidane's gonna resolve. And we are gonna take the Mog.
We're gonna take the Mog, of course. But this leaves Morgan in a pretty rough spot. That Axtar really packing quite a punch.
Yeah, the Axtar and the Ward. That was perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
So Leo, yes.
Now, of note, he did have to trade off a Furion for that. That was a little unfortunate. That's definitely a card that he probably has wanted in play, but we did tap the Lena to get the Zidane. I feel like I almost just would have rather get the Furion in play than go for the raise on the Zidane.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it probably would have left us in pretty similar situation, but
I think it's tough because if we can't deal with this Axtar, then it's always going to be a threat.
Correct. Yeah. As soon as the Axtar was out, we're kind of cooked here. We have to answer it ASAP. We do have an Ama. Did we? Oh, we must have drawn it literally off of Leo.
No, yeah, this should die. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yuzuki protects from abilities for fire forwards, and water forwards get 2,000 damage of any kind reduced, but Axtar's fire ice.
Fire summon. Yep.
Yep. So it looks like there's a little out of order there, but Axtar dying meant that Volker triggered, and that's why the Leo died.
Okay, yeah, I was a little confused on that, but that makes sense. I saw him point from the Ward, I thought, and I was like, did Ward trigger again? No, Volker. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Vincent? Yes. So yeah, yep, as I see it in the Morgan's Limit Break there, Ultimate Weapon is very backbreaking in this exact kind of scenario. If Philip gets the opportunity to play his own Ultimate Weapon, I don't know if Morgan will be able to come back.
Yeah.
So getting rid of, in this case, you can only get rid of the Mog though, right? Because everything else is protected. Oh, yep. No, Kuchulin. Sorry, Kuchulin happened. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, we did negate the Yuzuki.
Yes. So
this does once again leave us in a weird spot where we're once again not answering the Yuzuki, though.
Yes.
So future removal is going to continue to be like extra effort.
So if the Volker dies... Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so we're stacking Mog with the trigger on this, and then Volker is going to die as well.
Okay.
We'll clean up the Vincent.
So that's 5 damage. Oh, it's only 4 damage. I thought it was 5. That's interesting. I don't know. I guess that means we don't have the answer to Vincent. So we're trading the Mog for the Vincent in that case.
Yeah.
So I guess that works out if Philip didn't have an answer to the first striker. I was originally going to say Leo into Ultimate Weapon, but we wouldn't have enough fire cards, so that wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of things here that could be lethal.
Yeah, just a Furion could potentially really get us in there.
Yeah.
Ooh,
we'd have the Furion into like an LB card, but yeah.
This is the unfortunate thing. We do hit the Ward, but we did not deal with the Yuzuki. So
yep. So it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
All right. And I believe that Morgan has no cards in hand, so this is kind of sketch.
Absolutely.
Oh, Clive? Oh, if Leo wasn't there, Clive was probably the perfect draw. But again, the Suzuki, even
And
if you're
since
able
we
to
unfortunately
prime,
top decking, if we had one extra card and could prime, yeah.
but Yuzuki still protects from Ifrit. So like, oh, I wonder if this game would be different if we got rid of the Yuzuki instead.
Yeah. Okay, going for a Luna Freya. And one of the awkward things about the Luna Freya here is even if we do hit an EX, our opponent's going to get an extra card off of it. And once again, there's a ward, unfortunately, just not really going to do too much. Could take the Lena, but that doesn't do too much to impact the current board.
It's a rough spot for sure. We could ward to kill Leo, but that doesn't do very much. If we like Lena,
Looks like we are going to take the ward, kill the Leo, but this is going to give our opponent the extra card. It could potentially draw them into anything extra a little scary. Leo does bite the bullet here.
if we Lena into a fire card, we could have like LB'd Zac, but Zac can't kill Leo because Leo takes 2,000 less damage. So it's not easy here. There are a lot of cards here. I mean, Axstar? Was that 7?
It is. Yep, we're just
and it's
Raw Dog going for Big Daddy Ifrit here, and that will clean up the game. Being at 6 damage, we knew it was pretty much a wrap at that point. It was just putting out that last bit of pressure. It was a very quick match from both players. Congrats to Philip. I think the pivotal turn was obviously the Axstar, even though Axstar was dealt with before the next auto ability could go off. It just set such a massive tempo, and I really do think not answering the Yuzuki on the first kind of go around, it left us a little hindered in what we could respond. But that was a very heads up play by Philip, getting the Yuzuki, playing it out ASAP to kind of limit his opponent's options.
Yeah, and this is one of those games I would definitely reflect on if I was Morgan, because I'm not necessarily saying that misplays happened or anything like that, but in my opinion, the Yuzuki was the card that stood out to me the most in that game. And as far as I could see, there was at least 2 Kuchulanes that we saw, and we searched for Bahamut, and all those deal with the Yuzuki and enough like to remove it. So yes, Philip could play another one, sure, but I just feel like Yuzuki turns off a lot of the cards, and we could have had like pseudo answers or actual answers to the cards. So, and that would have made plays totally different, and the game would have been totally different too, right? So, but it's one of those things of like, we had access to the card, so was it correct? Was it not correct? Something like that. I actually really like rewatching matches because of those reasons.
Yeah, that was a fantastic match between those players, and definitely a lot of interesting decision points that I do think, just like you mentioned, are worth reflecting on. Definitely one of those things where it's like you kind of have to guess at what you think is going to kind of come up for the rest of the match, but kind of taking into account everything that you do have in your deck, what your opponent could have in their deck. Like for example, Philip does have a Ku Chaspel in his deck as well, so opposing Yuzuki, not quite as much of a threat, but he does have 2 Yuzukis of his own. Morgan only had the 1 Yuzuki and no Ku Chaspel, so it was really just he has 3 Kuchulanes and the Bahamut were the primary answers to like that card in particular. It also just would have been interesting if he could have gotten out his own Axstar to get this going. And of note, another thing that he did have to kind of shave from to be able to fit in the extra Clives, the extra Ferris, is one of those Axe Stars. So he is actually only on 2 Axe Star in the list as well.
Right. And we're gonna wrap it up here. They're playing a friendly after this, so we're just gonna go straight on to round 6. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Everyone, welcome to round 6 of the Portland Materia Cup. We have David O on the top versus Ray C. And I'm not sure what decks... Actually, wait, I can figure out what decks are on. One moment.
Of note, we do have 2 players kind of on the bubble here, so this will be an interesting match.
Oh my goodness,
Could
Sam.
decide who goes top 16.
This is a good feature.
All right, so what kind of... Well, actually, you know what? Maybe
You'll
I'll
know on turn 1. You'll know on turn 1.
Okay, we'll know on turn 1? Okay, fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. So who am I looking out for in particular? Which of the players?
David, for sure.
Okay. All right.
I'm a big friend of Ray here, but I
are we rooting for David?
I non-biased, but I like David's deck.
That's perfectly fair. I mean, I do have to give a shout out to Ray Chow's Materia Hunter sleeves.
Oh yeah,
excellent going on down there, and Ray does start off on the play.
Ray has a cool deck too, by the way. I'm not dogging him for his deck choice. His deck is awesome too.
Ray has always shown up with pretty interesting decks. I know he has had Chaos Arc has definitely been something in his wheelhouse in the past.
Lightning Wind Chaos Arc.
Starting out with a Amina into a Torgal, so we do have a mono ice, possibly maybe ice splash priming going on.
We're gonna play this Torgal? I'm assuming so. I think he has a Sid Waff in his hand as well. That's a good one. Because he has two cards backups, I'm assuming he's gonna play one of them this turn.
Yeah, and then just set up for the next turn. Yeah, go ahead and the good boy out there himself, Torgal.
Are you excited? You ready?
I'm a little excited. I kind of want to see this Sid Waff honestly go down. We have seen just tons of Lena. Sid Waff definitely being one of those new cards that is functionally a oh baby. I see where we're going. We're going to the whole Dragoon. Nothing but the Dragoon.
A new Dragoon came out in this set. Do you remember that?
Yep. I do not actually. I forgot that there is a new Dragoon in the.
I don't remember what it does, but I remember reading it and being good. Actually, it was in the top 5 there. The 4-cost backup. When it comes into play, choose a standard unit of cost 3 or less in your break zone. Add it to your hand. If you control 3 or more Dragoons, play it onto the field instead.
Okay, yeah. So a 4-drop that not only is drawing you a card, but playing a 3-drop as well. That's quite efficient. Obviously limited to that archetype, but excellent. That is what we need, is that archetype getting a little bit of support. Obviously Ray here, ideally probably just going to play out the Waff or Edward. Okay, that's a good one. And then if we had a free backup, this would be the time. This would be great.
Yeah, the Armorer.
Yeah. Doesn't look like that's the case, but we are going to go ahead and get the Sid Waff. So this is our reverse Lena that we have going on. Instead of drawing a card, your opponent will randomly discard a card if they take their EX burst. Really like this effect. Of note, really, with the way EX work is you will resolve the entire EX. So if it's your only card going to your hand, then you'll have to discard. It's very powerful. Could set up some pretty rough spots especially for aggressive decks against decks that have lots of EXs that draw cards. You're thinking your Warrior of Lights, stuff like that. I do think this is a card that can kind of get Ice a little bit back on the map against some of those strategies. As innocuous as it does seem, I think that card is very powerful.
Yeah, and what some people don't realize too is it's a random discard. So if they have a full grip, sometimes that might not trigger their burst just for the chance of, discarding the wrong card,
Yeah, I mean, if it's Warrior of Light and they have 1 backup in hand and they really need to get that going for next turn, or it's the only forward that they have that really is important, you never know. So that could be a very big threat. It might be one of those things somebody pulls the trigger on and I'll just go ahead and EX burst and accidentally discard the best card in my hand.
I actually don't remember what G Deleter's effect is with 4 more backups. I'm gonna look real quick.
I believe it freezes them.
Dole freeze a character. Yep.
Yeah.
One character. And I figured Ray's hand has to be good here because he discarded the Charlotte last turn when he went to 4 backups. I think Charlotte's a pretty valuable card, so if he's getting rid of that and keeping something else, he's got to have something good.
Potentially, I mean, definitely another thing. Oh wow, that's so unfortunate. So we're playing an all Dragoon deck. We triggered Alice. I assume this has got to be one of maybe 4 or 5 cards in the deck that don't trigger. Is it literally the only fail? No, we have 2 fail Thanoses as well.
So 5 fails.
So we had four fails still remaining in the deck.
Yeah.
And we hit 1 off the top. That is so unfortunate. Very low odds, but card games are going to be what they will be sometimes. That's a little unfortunate.
And this RNA is reveal the top card of the deck. If it's lightning, add it to your hand.
Now this one has a 0% chance of failing, so that is good here.
Something else that I want to mention, because I don't feel like Dragoons are played very much, and they got a lot of stuff in the last few sets. LB Kane is really good in this deck. I'm gonna check the Freyas, but there are no dual Freyas. Oh, wait, maybe there's a new Freya as well. I'm gonna check that. But what I was gonna mention is sometimes you splash water for Freyas, and you can LB Warrior Light because you have enough standard units.
Oh, that's I have not even thought of these lines. This
Yeah,
is
so there's some cool tools that Dragoons have access to. I don't think that there are any water cards in this version, though.
yeah, but I definitely do like Ray's strategy here. Dragoons can be a fairly aggressive deck, but it also does usually build off that Alice, trying to get its value, and then start to swarm. If it just goes all in, usually it kind of runs out of steam, so that Alice usually will help keep the engine going. But while he was setting that up, Ray took the time to go ahead and set up all 5 backups. I do like that he will be prepared for this kind of in the middle game grind fest that I do expect to start happening in a second, because they will probably be trading forward back and forth. And of course, we do have one of our first fire cards coming out with Clive, but Torgal allowing us to play that guy.
So it looks like a lot of cards are being read here, and I think it's because David's a little bit newer to the game, and that's fine. But as long as we keep up the pace of play, it'll be all good. And also, I will say, I think Ray's deck is a little bit on the unconventional side still. Yeah, mono ice is a thing, but it's not really a meta deck, you know. People know, they've heard of mono ice priming before, but that doesn't mean you can guess the 50 cards. Like it's maybe like 20 cards you can guess. So,
well, especially now that we have additional priming options with the new Ifrit, the new Clive, new Jill, new Shiva, right? Like we have quite a few variations of configuration that you can go for. So I do like this deck. It is interesting that we went ahead and primed. Not going to get any value out of the Ifrit connecting, but we did go ahead and clean up the forward on board. And of course, Alice is not going to fail this time, especially after another Alice went to damage.
I hope not.
So that's 2 Alices down. The only 2 fails still in the deck are the fail Thanos.
Fail Thanos, you mean? Huh?
That is correct. Those would be the fails. Ray does have the Edward setting up, so he can at least snipe something out of the break zone. He does know his opponent has that 4-cost Dragoon backup in either his hand or at least in the deck. And there's 1 fail Thanos down, so only 1 remaining. Of note, a big thing, Ifrit does get around fail Thanos.
It does.
So unfortunately, not a safe pick against this deck at the moment.
This Dragoon was the perfect reveal.
Yeah.
I was wondering how David was going to deal with this Ifrit, and we just figured out how.
Yep. And this Dragoon, since he has come out, has been one of the best Dragoons possible. You do have to reveal 4 Dragoons or card name or job type Dragoons from hand, but it does break a forward. So this will answer that Ifrit pretty cleanly.
So Ray was taking a look at that new Freya. I'll read its effect real quick because I also wanted to look at it. 4-drop, 8k, haste. When Freya attacks, choose a forward the opponent controls. Do it 2,000 for each Dragoon, job Dragoon, or name Dragoon. And then it has a special purple. Choose 1 forward, deal it 2,000 for each Dragoon in your break zone.
Okay.
So
that's quite good.
If you are going wide, or I guess if you have Dragoon backups in this case too, because it's not looking at forwards, it's just looking at Dragoon cards. So there's a lot in play. That was a way to technically answer the Ifrit as well. That seems like a really good addition to the deck.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. I'm curious what other threats Ray is going to bring to the board here, because I feel like a lot of this has kind of been on the control-y side, and I wonder
Yeah, I
what else he's
definitely
going to
feel
do.
like I want to get something kind of proactive going. If possible, if we could, answer a forward and kind of play out our hand. I do see a Jill in hand. I can't tell which. I believe that's the original Jill.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I did see the new Shiva in his break zone. I wonder if he's only playing that one or if he's playing the new one as well. I think he's playing a split. I guess we're going to find out.
And we are going to go ahead and prime.
Yep. Okay, so he's playing a split. So right now he can kill both those forwards.
It rarely seems like a bad idea against the aggressive deck that does also, take a card. The one thing that I do worry about though is only kind of putting out one forward a turn. Dragoons are able to usually kill your guy and put out multiple bodies, and a lot of Dragoons also have haste, whereas a lot of race cards do not. It's really just the Ifrit and Clive. A little bit more. If we're just going 1-1, I worry that Ray will eventually fall behind in damage. Even though his cards are individually more powerful, I just feel like a couple less of them are going to be hitting the board. And there's that last fail Thanos. Alice will not be missing for the rest of the game.
And that's a good thing. Oh, there is the water Freya.
The water lightning Freya.
I guess I missed it. But yeah, that's like a perfect example, right? You could have like Leo LB or Warrior Light again, like I was saying. So that's an interesting idea for this deck.
And this is the situation that I kind of mentioned. So we're just playing back out the Dragoon. We're going to answer the Shiva, and then we're also going to be able to get in for some damage here.
Yeah, this is a recipe that a lot of aggressive decks like to have. We saw some of this earlier with the FF8 stuff with Cypher, and there's some other decks out there too where you just ETB remove something like with this Dragoon. He killed the Shiva and then attack. After that point, the Dragoon already got its value, right? It got damage. It was a removal spell.
Yeah, if it dies from this point on,
it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And if it eats another removal spell, yeah, so it is going to eat a Mateus, but that was 2 cards out of his hand, just to deal with something. Whereas the Dragoon came out, answered the Shiva cleanly, and then also threatened. I do worry about Ray's position in the long-term game. The one benefit he does have is being up on backups from his opponent. It looks like he is going to probably negate this with the Edward. Yep, take the card out of the graveyard as the Dragoon goes to pick something up.
And I believe that David had 2 of those Dragoons, so he could theoretically go for it again. Ray knows about that though too.
A thing that I would definitely be curious about is I don't think I would go for that Dragoon there. And a big reason why is I think he can. Ray showed us earlier he was willing, if nothing happened, to activate Edward end of turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he activates the Edward and targets something, you can then safely play the Dragoon afterwards. There is no end of turn in Final Fantasy, so you are still back in your second main phase. So I do feel like I would try to play that game of chicken with Ray and see if he would go ahead and activate the Edward, and then afterwards respond by activating my Dragoon. And of course, we see one of the most powerful things the Mono Ice deck can do, especially from Limit Break, is this Kate Sith freezing all the backups. Very, very big tempo swing, especially when we pitch 2 cards to play out another backup that extra turn. Really leaving him down a good bit here.
This is going to do 8k.
Yep.
Because there's 4 Dragoons. Yeah, to touch on the Edward thing, I agree because as far as I'm concerned, Ray has to keep the Edward active forever unless he's getting greedy, right? Like as long as the Dragoons known, or you can force it through. Like imagine a turn that you play 2 of the backup Dragoons, right? Ray can only remove 1 card, so
Yep.
there are ways to play around the Edward, but also if you just don't play into it, then Ray has to keep that backup open for the entirety of the game, and when he doesn't, that's when you play the Dragoon to revive something. So and unfortunately, we see a Shiva here to stop the Freya, so the Kate Sith will be alive. And it has Brave, which I think is a little unusual for an ice card, but it'll be attacking and defending.
Yeah, that Shiva is very interesting because it does still go back to hand if you pay the extra cost. Now, I am curious. I thought we were dealing 8K with the Freya.
It is on attack.
And it's on the attack specifically. I thought it was on play.
Yep, it's on attack. And this Undead Princess is it is we got a Freya special here. So this is 8K again to the Kate Sith. Undead Princess is like old school Opus 1 Sarah, ETB discard a card, right? Little power crept. It's a 3-drop 7K now. But you also get a crystal. And I think the only way Ray could use crystals is Shintoto. Pretty sure.
Do you? Yeah. It's interesting.
Do I special there? Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the attack is unreliable because we know Ray has Shiva. So maybe he put those cards on top of his deck.
Oh no! Now we have Y'shtola in play. This being one of the more kind of like door closing cards that Ray can really get out, being able to be kind of consistent removal if your opponent is playing out their hand. So this leaves his opponent in a very rough spot.
Yeah, and
especially now that we're top decking.
That's what I was about to mention. You notice David had no hand. If a burst happened there that searched or drew a card, Sid Waff would have stopped that. So I wouldn't have stopped it, but it would have discarded it.
Yeah. So it would kind of kept him in parity. Now if Ray... So this is an interesting thing about the way Ray has his deck built. If he is able to kind of threaten, 1 or 2 discards for kind of the rest of the game, he could, both kill a forward and, answer the board, threaten the hand. So his opponent's really got to decide, do I want to commit out my whole hand because something's going to die to this Y'shtola, or... And it looks like that is the line he's going to go for. And see, we do see that Edward activating here again.
It's funny, as Ray's reading all these Dragoons, I am also looking at a bunch of them to cover my bases.
Yeah, they're a little tricky with the different armors of a Dragoon. However, they all have adjacent effects, but not necessarily the same effect. So you do have to kind of keep each one in mind. Don't ever want to assume what your opponent's cards do, or even what your cards do. I am a firm believer of making sure that you have read the card thoroughly. Yeah,
same. When I first started playing this game, I feel like, even today, I feel like a lot of, if I am in a state of like I could have played around something, and playing around is reading the card, I think it's a little silly to lose because I didn't read a card, So, and also with the Dragoon stuff, for me personally, I feel like I know what a lot of it does, but I don't remember which card does which effect. I know
exactly it.
What.
That's what I mean about the trickiness of, they're all Dragoons, but they're all wearing different armor. So I don't know which one's which.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Okay, so Kuja and Y'shtola here is a really good combination.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do always love the first turn after you play Kuja, getting that classic icy manipulator. Whatever you do on your turn, I'm going to tap it down. And then on my turn, I can choose to leave it up, or I could tap down another thing, or I could swing in with it.
Yeah, it's so flexible.
Classic card game situation of being able to kind of respond on your opponent's turn. Those types of effects are very powerful.
All right, hear me out.
Kind of being proactive on whatever your opponent's going to do.
Kuja's a fair Yuna.
Yeah.
That's what a comparison that is. That's a little crazy.
Well, we could ban it.
No, not even close.
No. Oh, okay. If it starts countering summons and auto abilities, we'll think about it.
All right.
And this David, is definitely leaving him in a rough spot of kind of where do you go to get through this board? You have to keep cards in hand because otherwise the Y'shtola becomes a problem. You have to kind of answer something. Honestly, I like this play of just passing. If I was doing anything, I would be potentially looking at my limit break as well. That could have been an option. I definitely don't like the idea of spending cards in hand. We need those resources for turns to come where we can try to overload this board. Because at the moment, this board's very efficient at dealing with one or maybe two threats.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of LB-wise, though, is Kane. But Kane is countered by this Edward. It just gets back and forward, and Edward's just doing a lot of work for Ray. And
absolutely.
Attack with Kuja.
And I do like that attack with Kuja because it does set up a potential lethal clock here, especially if we do play out another forward. Because now we play out another forward. If our opponent only plays a forward, we can tap one, potentially kill one with Y'shtola, and then attack with the Y'shtola and the Princess. If our opponent doesn't play anything and only removes one thing, they're still looking at a very scary board. One of the best things to remove on Ray's board is the Y'shtola, but for the Y'shtola, I mean, it has haste, so if Ray has another one in hand, even if you remove that, could still be threatening lethal, even if you remove two forwards off this board. So I do think that attack with the Kuja was a well-played attack. Sometimes, like I was mentioning, where you kind of play the game of, do I want to leave this up? Do I want to kind of hold back? Dragoons is a threatening deck, but this is definitely a spot where you kind of just want to go ahead and push your pressure in.
So this Kane's going to try and get back something, but the Edward's going to target it for sure, right? It's gotta.
Absolutely. Now, I wonder if when he goes to target something, we're going to have a response, or not that Edward's tapped down, we're going to do something else with the rest of our break zone.
Yeah, so
I do note that Kane is a 9 cost, but it is reduced by 5. As long as you have enough Dragoons. You need 3 of them, and he does meet that requirement. So that card does become quite efficient, only a 4-drop 8k that also gets something back.
I think he has first strike too, maybe?
Yep.
And then I know that Dragoon backup that was left open, that I know that one. That one gets back a Dragoon from the break zone, so we could pick up Freya still. I know there's one in there if that's what we're going for. It looks like there's 4 minutes on the clock, so...
Yeah, that being said, I believe Ray still has his Shiva in hand, so in case that Freya did come out, we would be dull freezing it. Yep, looks like we're going to activate it now that the Edward's tapped out. There comes the Freya. I assume we're going to play this, and I think Ray will have a response before combat. If all this plays out like I'm expecting. Yep. All right, looks like we're...
Wonder what the confusion's about.
I think we're double checking that Kane was discounted. Yep. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And then the discard. There's 2 discards for the Freya. Yeah.
Yep. So the Freya is in play. Pretty sure Ray still has that Shiva though.
I see that
Here
Nyx.
it comes.
That Nyx in the LB. Nyx seems like a really good card for Dragoons too. Now I think about it, a lot of the cards break. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of synergy in this deck.
Absolutely. All right, so that Freya, that Shiva has been an all-star against this Freya, unfortunately. We do probably have an S coming out here. This is an unfortunate spot where I think we tapped incorrectly. If we could have left, one, pitched an extra card rather than
Doling the backups for Kane.
than doling the backups, since the Freya is only 1 lightning.
Yeah.
To activate. So slightly inefficient with this activation, but not the end of the world. Did we do
We did not.
I guess we just passed.
Yeah, we held it.
It's interesting. So activating the S does give you less cards in hand, and that's a really big thing. But this is going to kind of set up that spot that I was mentioning before, where now pretty much no matter what, since we did get that extra point of damage in, we have enough guys that we're probably going to be able to take this game down this turn. We are going in with the Y'shtola first, taking the damage.
Aranea.
Oh, Aranea. All right, so this will trigger the Waff.
Yep.
And the random discard will happen.
I think we're going to Freya special in response is my guess. No.
Oh, we're going to let it happen. So we got 3 cards. And it's spin the wheel. And it wasn't the Freya.
Oh,
Yep.
that makes sense because there's
So
2 Freyas. So it didn't matter if one got discarded.
It didn't matter which one we lost, but it is unfortunate that we lost one, but this does keep us alive an additional turn. This will kill off that, and the Jill is now not able to swing since she had just come out. I think we're counting the Y'shtola damage.
Yeah, the Freya's still alive.
Yeah, she had just taken the damage from the initial Y'shtola attack when we had sufficient cards in hand. Now we have lost them, though. At this point, we're... Oh!
I don't know about you, Sam.
There's a Barbarisha.
But this game feels like old school Final Fantasy.
It really does. It's very interesting.
Like pre-Opus 10 stuff.
We definitely have some slightly more powerful stuff going on with the Y'shtola, the Jill priming, the Freya, the LB, of course. But and obviously Alice just drawing that extra card. But even Alice has been around for quite a while. Both of these decks' overall value engines are, like you were mentioning, a little bit more on the fair side. They can be powerful, but if they don't line up just right, I mean, Alice is 1 extra card per turn, but with a pretty significant deck building restriction, right? Exactly. And of course, it can't even happen like we saw. It was very unfortunate. One of the most important times to hit with the Alice that we missed on that first turn, because a card early in the game is worth many cards later in the game. Because if you can kill your opponent before the late game cards matter, then you definitely just want that early card. So trading off the fact that he has been able to hit with Alice since then, but that early card, I'm sure he would have given any of these subsequent draws for it.
I do see that we're in turns, I'm assuming, and this add an extension because the timer's counting up now.
Yes. Yeah, I believe we hit timer on our Dragoon player's turn. So David was turn 0, Ray turn 1 going on right now. 0, 1, 2, 3. So Ray will have the last turn. But this is his first turn in time. He does need to get in 1 extra point of damage. Does look like his opponent is able to put up a pretty good wall here. And it looks like that Y'shtola is going to be going down.
This new Freya has been putting in a lot of work. I know that it's been dull frozen the majority of the time, but it's done a lot.
Yeah, I do believe it is still going to get dull frozen again here. All right, so this should be turn 2 here. And both players' deck count are getting quite low, but I don't know if it'll come to those blows with the amount of turns left in play. It looks like the Dragoon is targeting the Charlotte. It's going to get the dull freeze off and discard. And that will still remove the Charlotte, though.
I'm a little worried here now with Ray, though, because the only haste I can think of is Clive Ifrit.
Yep. That could be very powerful, but I mean, as we've seen, these Freya S's, a single Freya S could make a huge. I mean, just answer the Clive before any of that happens. However, we are also just going to Shiva down something. I wonder if we are going to go for the Freya. Doesn't really matter too much at the moment. And we actually technically can hit 2 things here. We can hit 1, the Shiva is going to come back to hand, and then we can technically could hit even more. All right.
It looks like he is going to cast
looks like Ray is planning on putting more cards in hand. So a very fun thing to kind of also keep in mind is we did see in Ray's deck the new Clive. Clive does care about removed from game primals.
Yes.
This Shiva does remove those other cards from the game. So does kind of fuel your own engine while also giving you a pretty good reward.
Yeah, the new Clive doesn't care how they got removed from game, that they're just removed from game. So if you get misdragoned and you discarded some primals for CP, yeah, it still counts. So it's pretty nifty. It also can remove cards from either graveyard. I don't know if you knew that. So you can remove your own if it comes down to that.
All right, and I do believe this is the last turn of the game. Now, all of his opponent's cards are removed, or sideways. So it looks like there are 4 cards still remaining in his opponent's deck.
Yeah, so either this is the last turn,
now we have
or there's an extension, which we can't tell if there's an extension. So
yeah, and there is a cat coming out that's going to make his opponent discard a card. So this is our fair version of Gesper off the ban list. So the cat does require a discard from you, and then your opponent will also discard. Looks like we are going to go ahead and special. We're going to, in response, Are we killing our own Kane? Was that what we
I
were
think so.
indicating?
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
Potentially get another Kane next turn. Could potentially buy something back and then replay it. Not necessarily going to be relevant if Edward stays open now that Ray knows that is a possibility. Probably won't be tapping Edward anytime soon. And now we do get to see the new Jill. We see Ray going to those remove from game cards immediately.
Let's see how many Shivas are left, if there are any. So now, when Jill enters the field, choose up to the same number of characters as job icon in your break zone or remove from game, like both. So that's also why we're looking at remove from game. And it doles them. Well, I don't think the dole part's super relevant in this scenario.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, pretty much everything was already dulled. Oh, okay, so now it looks like we are on.
Oh, so there's a dice.
Turn
Yeah. So this is
now.
turn 1. Okay.
And this is going to be. Okay, that makes more sense. A little deceptive with the timer there. So this will be turn 0 on Ray's turn, turn 1 on David's turn. David only having 1 card left in deck. This will pretty much be his last turn regardless. So he needs to close it out here. But I don't know if we're getting 5 points of damage coming across the table this turn.
No.
I think at this point that will kind of spell defeat for David due to deck count. So I believe Ray is just going to pass here, and that will end the game. Yep, and that will be the fist bump. And congrats to Ray, of course.
The part's super relevant.
So he needs to fist bump, and congrats to Ray. Of course, unfortunately, we do know that Ray, after this, will get 17th. So my condolences to the bubble there. But it was a very good game and excellently fought. Very interesting deck. And we will see you all in Top Cut.
Thanks for watching.